In the last module, we had learnt what charge is. So charge is just another property of particles, just like mass. And in this video, let us know about charges in a bit more detail. So first of all, I hope you remember that in the last module I had told you that mass of particles is always positive, but charge of particles can either be negative or positive, or even zero. So it could be right, it could be either negative, so it could be negative or zero or positive, but mass can either be zero or some positive value. So now let's say if I have two particles, this has some negative charge, let's say 1 unit, minus 1 unit, and I have another particle that has a charge of plus 2 units. So it was seen that between such two particles we have an attractive force. So these two particles will try to attract each other, just like magnets, right? And if I have two particles in another case, if I have two particles that have the same sign of charge, so if this has plus 1 unit of charge and its charge is, let's say, plus 2 units, these two charges will repel each other, they will push each other apart. So yeah, that is a basic thing. And also if these two charges were negative, both of them, even then they would repel each other. So this is something like magnets. When you get North Pole and a North Pole close together, the North Pole and the North Pole both will repel each other. But if you have a South Pole and a North Pole, they'll attract. So I hope you remember, opposite poles attract and like poles repel. Similarly here, opposite charges attract and similar charges repel. So that's the basic thing. Now I won't go into the details of why this happens, how this happens. For now, let us just take it as a given fact. So I'm just telling it to you that, so quick revision, particles have various properties like mass and charge. Mass is simple, it is always positive. Now charges can be either positive or negative, or also zero, right? But let us just stick to positive, negative. So if you have two particles with opposite charges, so the first particle is negative and the second particle is positive, such two particles will try to attract each other. On the other hand, if you have two particles that have the same charge, either negative, negative or positive, positive, such particles would try to repel each other or push each other apart. So that's the basic idea of charges and the type of interaction they have between each other. Now let's not get into too much detail here. So now one more thing that I'd like to highlight here is that charges, just like mass, can be added. Now what do I mean by that? Let me just clear it off here. Yeah, so let's say I have a box here and I put in a 1 kg mass. I put in a 1 kg block, let's say. So the total mass of this box, let's ignore the mass of the box itself. So the total mass of this box that I have here will be 1 kg. Now let's say I put in another kg here, another kg block. Now the mass of this box becomes 2 kg, right? I can add 1 plus 1, 2, so I get 2 kg. I can add another block of, let's say, 2 kg this time, and I get 1, 2, 3, 4 kgs. So I can add masses, right? So the total mass of this complete box will be 4 kgs, right? That makes sense. So we can add masses to find the net total mass. Similarly, we can add charges. So let's say I take in one box, I take, let's say, plus 1 unit of charge. Let's say this is a particle with plus 1 unit of charge, and I keep another particle with plus 1 unit of charge. So I have two particles inside this box that have 1 unit charge each, plus 1 unit charge each. So what is the total charge inside the box? Well, that is 1 unit plus 1 unit. So I have 2 units of charge inside the box. Just like I can have 1 kg plus 1 kg, 2 kg. I have the net charge inside this box is 1 unit plus 2 unit. 1 unit plus 1 unit, 2 units, right? So I have 2 units of net charge inside this box. But what if instead of having this particle here which has a positive charge, I have another particle that has minus 1 unit of charge. Now what is the net charge inside the box? Well, plus 1 minus 1 is 0. So the net charge inside this box is 0. That might sound weird, but I can have two charges inside the box that have opposite charges, and so there is some charge inside the box which is, so I have some individual charges. I have one positive charge and I have a negative charge, but the overall or the net charge inside the box is 0, because the charge, so because plus 1 minus 1 is simply 0, so the net charge here is 0. So you can simply add and subtract charges and you can find the net charge that you have. So I hope that also makes sense. So that doesn't happen in masses because we don't have negative mass, but otherwise charge is pretty much just like mass. You can add charges. So even here I was adding charges. So those were the basic things to know about charge. And don't get too much confused by charge. Charge is nothing but a property, and yeah, those are some properties about the property charge itself, right? So that's it for this video.